Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mental Health Awareness Week, Day 3. We're with Julie Ostrow. We will be starting shortly, so we're just waiting for people to join in. So we'll just put a backdrop on, and we'll start in a couple of minutes. Hello, everyone. So we are live on Day 3 of Mental Health Awareness Week. Happy Mental Health Awareness Week, everyone. So I'm joined today by Julie Ostrow from Chicago, and I've got my colleague Sakshi here, who's dialing in from India. So today we have a very, very special session. I know everyone talks about laughter being the best medicine, but Julie's made it her mission. And she uses laughter, improv, and loads of other tools to kind of keep people in the present moment and help people build resilience and well-being. So thank you, Julie, for being with us. So just as a way of background, my name is Chitraj. Raj is absolutely fine. I am the CEO of MindHug and really excited to be here. I'll introduce my colleague in a second. In fact, I'll let her introduce herself. So go ahead, Sakshi.
Thank you, Chitraj. So my name is Sakshi and I'm the business manager at MindHug.
Good. All right, Julie. Well, it's going to be over to you. So the way, just a few housekeeping points. So we have a comment section as well. So if you have any questions, the audience has any questions during the session, by all means, put it up. And at the end of the session, we will go through it. So today is a fairly interactive session. Julie will be leading most of it. So at points, Sakshi and I will drop off the screen, and Julie will be on the screen leading the charge over there. We have a few team members who will be joining us because I know it's an interactive session and there are a few activities planned. And one of the advantages of having a team is you can Skype away and you can get some people to do some of those activities. So that's I'm kind of looking forward to that. But over to you, Julie. Why don't you just give us a bit of background about yourself?
Oh, very good. Thank you very much, Raj and Sakshi. And thanks so much for letting me and asking me to be on this MindHug. First of all, I love the name of your company, Hugging the Mind. I mean, give your mind a hug, because I think our minds race. At least I speak for myself too. My mind can race a lot. The what ifs. And so my background is in improvisational training at Second City. I've also trained in laughter yoga, and I'm also I don't want to say retired, but years ago, I also was a volunteer grief counselor with kids. And all along through my path of business and also volunteering and improv, I saw how we can become present through the art of improvisation and play and laughter. And it's not just goofing off. When we give our mind a hug, give our mind a break, it can have so many more physical and emotional and mental benefits. So that's a little bit about me.
Perfect. Sounds super. Well, over to you, Sakshi.
Yeah. So Julie, I would just like to ask you a couple of things because I know that you're a humor coach and a communication specialist. So my first question is that you focus on humor, laughter, and improv. So how do you build resilience and mental well-being through these things?
Well, through challenging times, it's very easy for us to say, well, just get over it. You know what? Oh, this is just a tough time. We're going to get over it. But for example, with this coronavirus and pandemic, we don't know when the end is in sight. And how we build resilience is being in the present moment and starting with gratitude. And it might sound very trite at first to say, well, be grateful. Everybody says, oh, just be thankful for the month that you have or what you have. But I feel like there's so much to be said for showing gratitude, because I'm thankful that I have my health, I have my husband, we have a home, we have a stocked fridge, and there are different ways to adapt and communicate with our friends. So being resilient, I think, starts with gratitude for what we do have, and then finding the funny in times when you really can't do anything about it. That's what I do. Hopefully that answers your question. I went on a couple little trails.
No, I think that definitely answers it. So now we know that you've got a very interactive and exciting session planned for all of us. So do you want to just take over and walk us through it?
Sure. Sounds good. Because like you introduced me, I do use humor, laughter, and improvisation in programs, coaching, whether it's for small groups or corporations. But what can help when we're by ourselves, how can we interact with other people? Because I think what we may have even have talked about this a week or so ago, that it's very easy to feel isolated when we are, quarantined in our homes, whether it's with our family members. Still we can feel isolated. And the blessing of having technology is we can still interact with someone. I mean, you can even feel like I'm sitting right there at your desk, but we can interact with people this way. So let's start out. Do you guys want to start out with a laughter exercise just to loosen up?
Sure.
Want to do that? Okay.
How many of us do you need?
What's that?
How many of us do you need?
I think this is good. All three of us.
Okay, perfect.
All three of us. And then if anyone watching, anyone in the backstage, if they want to jump on, they're welcome to. If people want to jump into the studio.
Yeah, I'll get the team. I'll get the team going.
Okay.
It's probably
so
good
while
to
you're
introduce
doing
the team
that,
as well.
I'll explain the importance of laughter. That is a way for us to be in the present moment. And when we're laughing, we really can't think of anything else, can we? And when we're acting silly, we can't think about how. Really, when I'm acting foolish, I'm not thinking about the numbers in my business. When I'm acting foolish and I see a smile on somebody else's face, that's where I am. And it's interesting because I'm smiling and I'm seeing smiling from all five of you. So this is one thing to practice: smiling for no reason and laughing for no reason. So what we're going to do, I know we just have this small space. If your choice, if you want to stand up, but right now, if I stand up, that means that I'll have to readjust the computer and we don't have that much time. So let's just do this sitting. So how many times in the course of the day do you breathe? I don't feel like I'm breathing too much. I feel like I'm holding my breath a lot because what's going to happen next? So it's important for us to breathe. So why not infuse some laughter while we're doing it? Okay, so what I want everybody to do is inhale. Now here's the key part. I've learned my lessons through the years that when I'm giving an instruction for people to do a laughter exercise, I had them inhale, and then I'm still explaining the exercise, and then I realize everyone's holding their breath. So let's not do that. So I'll explain it, then we'll do it, okay? Because I don't want anybody to pass out. I can't come save you. So what I want you to do is think about your stress level. Think about something that you're stressed about. That's what we're going to laugh at. So I want you to, when you do, I want you to inhale and then exhale with a ha, ha, ha. Let's put our hands out like this and seeing the laughter, the stressful moment or feeling being laughed away. Okay, now we'll do it. Okay, ready? Inhale. Okay.
That's fun.
Now, what's really fun is to acknowledge if you have a stress level. Let's say stress level 1 to 5, 5 being the most stressful. So you could share it with us or think about it. And then as you're doing these exercises, has your stress level gone down? Most likely it has, even 1 notch, because when we're breathing, it helps to oxygenate the blood. And then when we're active, we're not so active in our brain and worrying. So really, activity and doing something physical, like laughter, minimally, like laughter. Okay, let's do it 2 more times. Ready? Inhale. It'll be fun. We could try this for the 3rd time. We could toss the laugh to other people. So
just before we do that, everyone in the audience should be doing this as well. It shouldn't only be us.
Someone, if you can see other people, if you have other people in your room, toss the laughter to somebody else. This right now can be a way for you to connect with your family members, team members, or anyone you have, let's say, a Friday cocktail hour with. Put your wine glass down, because there are a lot of Zoom cocktails hours going on, but that's not what we're doing. But this is a way for us to connect, even if we're not really in the same room. So I think connection is important. So inhale, and I'm going to toss a laughter. Let's see, because I think your screen looks different than mine. So let's all laugh and then throw the laughter. Let's see where it lands. We're going to throw. Right. Okay, we're going to laugh and throw the laughter at the same time. Ready?
Right. I think that's probably going towards right. Mine's probably heading towards right.
Oh, very good. Excellent. So does anybody feel a little bit better?
Yes.
I do. Now, yes, Raj, at the top of the call, and you guys can even stay on if you want to. So at the top of this,
you got all the exercises, right?
Yeah, let's do this. Yeah. So Raj had said, yes, we've heard that laughter is the best medicine, but why? It's because I've also heard that motion evokes emotion. So if you're just sitting in your chair thinking, or even saying, I'm so excited about my life. I'm thrilled about what we have going on. So I'm slouching and I don't feel it. But if you were to even put your arms up and say, I am miserable, and smile, you could feel that it's different. You feel positive because your body is showing positivity. You want to try it?
Why not?
All right.
Okay, why not? You guys want to do the I'm so excited about my life. Yep. I am so excited about my life.
I'm so excited.
So excited.
And if people tuned in right now, we might have just lost them. No, come back.
Well, I'll tell you, it's working because we've just doubled our viewership in the span of the last 2 minutes. So
that's brilliant.
You're not just kidding?
No, we have.
You're probably, what are those weirdos doing? Stand up if you want to, but even just sitting and saying, I am miserable, and make sure you smile. I am miserable.
Miserable.
I am miserable. Things are going on right there. I'm laughing. I'm thinking it's kind of silly because there's that incongruity between what I'm saying and what I'm doing. But I feel better because I'm lifting myself up. Physically, because the body, moving the body can have a positive impact on our brain. So I'm thinking in the last couple of days, honestly, I have not exercised. And normally I do. I haven't taken a walk. But normally I do. And I have found myself, like yesterday, I was in a funk because I didn't feel like going out. I didn't feel like doing anything. But I'm telling you, talking with all of you guys and moving, I feel like my physiology has just changed a little bit. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes.
And so it tells me that we can make just little changes. In other words, get off my backside and get moving, So laughter is good. I have always liked to laugh at myself and little mistakes that I made. But also being stuck with the idea of perfectionism. Raise your hand if you get stuck in perfectionism. Okay, you guys are good. All right. So I'll learn from you. But then I found this sign and is so perfect.
Yeah.
I may not be perfect, but parts of me are pretty awesome. So I'm able to find humor in little situations. I mean, even in stressful work environments, I always gravitated toward the people who had similar senses of humor, or we would be able to laugh at the stressful times. So a little tip that I like, and I kind of touched on it at the beginning, is when you, a way to find, I think, the funny in a situation is acknowledge what's happening. So I don't think it's healthy for us to skate over, jump over, avoid the challenging times that we have, whether it's the loss of a job, loss of a loved one, loss of a relationship, or being quarantined for weeks at a time. I don't think it's healthy to jump straight to, oh, everything is fine, everything is funny. I think there has to be a balance between acknowledging what's happening. And that, I think, gives your body, your mind, permission to see what's real. Does that make sense to you? So conversely, let's say if I grew up in a home where sharing our exact feelings were wrong, and it's not hypothetical, and I remember sharing my feelings, saying, that makes me mad. And I remember one family member said, Julie, don't say mad, just say a little frustrated. So already I was minimized my feelings. And I think through the years, I trained myself just to minimize how I felt. What was that doing to my psyche? I think that trained me to automatically question what I thought and then jump straight to, oh, everything is fine. So I think it's important to acknowledge, you know what, I'm having a crappy day, or I'm not feeling motivated, or I'm having a hard time. And I can see the positive. And that's where the philosophy of improv can come in. We'll do improv exercises. And one of the rules and guidelines of improv is yes, and. It's accepting what is happening. Now, to clarify about yes, and, a lot of people think, well, that means I have to agree with everything that is happening. I think there's a difference between accepting what's happening and agreeing with what's happening. I accept that there's a quarantine going on. I accept that I can't leave my house except to go grocery shopping. I'm adapting. Now, if I weren't adapting, I'd say, well, I'm just going to go do whatever I want. So that's not accepting what's happening. So acknowledging and accepting what's happening or agreeing with are different things. So just like with our own thoughts, we can apply the yes and philosophy. Yes, I feel angry. Yes, I feel demotivated. And I can see the positive. And I'll also clarify and put this little disclaimer or explanation that agreement and seeing the positive doesn't have to come right away. It can, because if I'm, let's say, grieving a loved one, it doesn't come overnight. And it's not linear. Our feelings of grief, our feelings are more like this and this, never linear. Just like the grief process is not linear. You don't have a loss. You don't go through this, and this and get over it. You adapt through challenging times and you probably become somebody different. Hopefully, a better you. So the yes and philosophy can be applied externally. So yes, I acknowledge you. I acknowledge my team members, and I hear what Thad is saying about that project. And I can say yes and to how I'm feeling. Yes, I'm having a crappy day. And I have to keep moving. So what are some thoughts that you guys have? And sorry, that's a Chicago thing, like you guys. So if I...
That's fine. That's fine. We use that in our team as well. So,
okay. Right.
But no, it's really interesting. I think it's very interesting that you've kind of said that acceptance and agreement are two separate things. You don't have to agree with something, but accepting it is the first step, and you can accept it with humor. So, and I think that's an extremely important takeaway that we're taking from this. Also, I think it's some of the exercises you've done, they've been good fun. So I think that's a step in the right direction for everyone.
Excellent. And you can do these exercises by yourself. And yes, we might have felt silly, but hey, we all felt silly together and felt better.
Yeah.
Anyone else have some thoughts about how anything that I said, did it trigger a thought, a question, anything?
Anyone?
Anyone? Bueller?
No.
Okay.
I think there's a huge mind-body connection, so that really resonated with me in terms of how you're actually behaving and your actions to how you actually feel and think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what's also very extremely important is the non-linearity of well-being. And I think that's any psychiatrist, and that this as a psychiatrist registrar as well, is they'll tell anyone who's having a mental health issue that you'll have good days and bad days. It's just what they're trying to get to is a situation where the good days stay longer than the bad days. And that's not to say that once you start having those good days, you're not going to have the bad days. It just means that you can start working on trying to maximize those good days.
And then hopefully the bad days aren't so deep of valleys.
Yeah.
Because if you're having challenges, whether it's constant mental health issue or a particular experience that you're having, we don't want the highs so high and then lows so low. And that's really good to have a professional during these times. If there's I think it's a good time to say, if these practical tools could be a start to acknowledge, hey, you know what, I might need some help. So it's okay to get help. That was a long way around that. I think I'm going to rephrase it. Strike that. I love being human because you don't have to be perfect.
Right. I think something else that really stood out to me was when you said accepting situations for what they really are can really help you to deal with it and move on instead of holding on to emotions that you might have about that particular situation. So that really stood out to me.
Good. Yeah. And because what happens is, let's say A is the experience. B are the tools that we use to work through an issue or a time period. C is moving on. So if we go from A to C, it's quite a bumpy road. And then, ironically, B in the middle is also a B for baggage. We end up bringing all that baggage with us, and it shows up in all these different ways, unhealthy ways. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Audience can voice in as well. So if anyone's got any thoughts, any questions, voice into the comments, and we will get them read or answered accordingly.
Exactly. All questions are welcome.
Yeah.
Except whether I'm wearing shoes. I have socks. I'm not wearing shoes. Comfortable socks. Okay. And then one improv exercise that is helpful that I do in workshops, and it also can be helpful here, just to demonstrate the importance of the yes and. So let's say, who would like to volunteer? It's very simple. Obviously, you're not getting on stage. Okay, thanks, Sakshi. So this is, if you could give me an object, just explain just say what the object is and hand it to me. And I first want to ask your opinion, or your preference. Would you like me to first respond in a no or yes and way? I will do both, but it's up to you what you would want me to do first.
Yes and.
Okay. All right. So please hand an object to me. Just say what it is.
Okay, so maybe it's just an apple.
Okay. Thank you so much for the apple. I love apples. And I think it's a gala apple. They're so juicy. Here you go, Finn. Here's the apple.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And you're welcome to hand it off to anybody else or do anything else with it.
I'm a foodie, so I'll probably eat it.
Okay. All right. Very good. Now, Sakshi is giving me a different object, and I'm going to respond in a negative way, just to heads up.
Okay, so dumbbells.
What is it?
I said dumbbells.
Dumbbells? Those aren't dumbbells. Those aren't dumbbells. Okay, hand me something else, please.
Okay, oranges.
Those aren't oranges.
Okay, so
calendar. What are they? Sorry.
A calendar?
It's not a calendar. Now, what I would like, I feel like even though we're not in the same room, the energy changed. Thad sat way back in his chair like, wait a minute. Why is she not? So, Sakshi, I would love for you to share. We'll open this up, and I'd love to share how you felt when I said, yes, that was an apple and shared it with everybody else, and when I negated you 3 times. So what were your feelings about each experience?
I mean, it's quite interesting because when it was positive, when you said, and yes, what else? I mean, I was just feeling so positive about it. I just felt like, okay, so she agrees with me. So that's great. But then when it came on to you saying no to me, suddenly, I don't know, even though I knew you would see something negative, even after that, I don't know, it just didn't feel good.
And when I do this exercise, I don't like it, but I have to do it to demonstrate it. And years ago, I would first start out with the negative and I wouldn't give people a heads up. So that's why I gave you a choice. So interesting, because I feel different too. I feel the energy changed when I said yes to the apple, and it became a collective experience because I handed it to Finn and then he did something with it. But I feel different too when I negated you and I felt like we're disconnected, and I did that. So I'll continue the discussion, but I would love to get input from you guys too, what that felt as observers.
The disconnection was clearly obvious. I guess the question coming to mind is, how do you deal with rejection? So you telling Sakshi no, a lot of people don't really know how to handle rejection. So maybe if you can expatiate on that, that would really be helpful.
Sure, I will do that. And then, so what can happen is when I do just basically cut her off at the knees. You know the reference of Tanya Harding years ago in the 90s, the skater who, cutting with a pipe, Nancy Carey. So don't do a Tanya Harding to people, cutting people off at the knees. So with Finn, I would like to get a little bit more, maybe of a particular example so I can understand a little bit more of your question. But before I do that, just think about when you're communicating with somebody, especially, let's say if someone who has a mental health issue or is struggling with their feelings, to immediately say, you don't have those feelings, or it's not that big of a deal. What you're doing is shutting them down, just like I did to Sakshi. But instead, if someone says, I'm having a really tough time, you're having a tough time, what can I do to help you? Or do you see how we can just alter what we say?
Yeah, I saw the difference there.
Okay, so Finn, if you could give me an example of what you had in mind and see if I can answer your question.
I think what I have in mind is when you're giving feedback to probably colleagues on the team and you don't really know they're having a bad day, but your expectation of them or what you expect them or how you expect them to respond is for them to be productive in a way. How do you filter through what someone else might be feeling that you never really had an initial thought about it? But right.
Okay. So I also heard the word expectation. So if you're expecting someone to react a certain way,
right,
that can also be where we run into some challenges, because if you're expecting someone to respond the way that you want them to, then there's that disconnect between your expectation and the reality.
I see. Right.
So my suggestion would be try your very best to go into a conversation without the expectation of how they're going to respond. Okay. Yes, you maybe worked with this person for a long time, or maybe a family member. So typically, so-and-so might react this way. But do your very best to get rid of everything, every expectation that you have, and just try to listen clearly. Listen. And I'm glad you asked this, because this can be where we utilize reflective listening. Okay. Reflective listening is what I learned as a volunteer grief counselor with kids. So we were taught, in a way similar to the yes and philosophy, we were taught to match the child's tone. Because I worked with kids age 3 through 18 who had had a parent die. And we were taught to match their playful energy, match their tone of voice, match their body language. And to some people, it might appear like we were mocking them or just, copying them. But what we didn't judge what they were saying or doing. For example, even when let's say Sarah drew something and it looked like she was angry. So she used just, it looked like that on the page, brown and black. For me to say, oh, you seem like you're angry, that is actually a judgment. That's me putting a label on Sarah. But instead, the facts, just like what I was saying about acknowledging there's the quarantine. Oh, you use black and brown in your drawing. Yeah, I'm sad. Oh, you're sad. So using that reflective tone and that calming tone allowed us to create this safe space for kids. They could be who they were. Some kids came to us and said, yeah, my mom died 3 months ago, and my teacher said that I needed to get over it. It breaks your heart. Because like we were just talking a few minutes ago, grief is not linear. So what I would say is try your very best to listen. Let's say, for example, maybe a coworker or friend is very angry, but maybe you don't want to match their anger. But, so what I hear you saying is that you're upset about XYZ project. Yes. Right. So that's the yes and. That's the acknowledging them. I'm really ticked that you put these projects in front of me and I can't do this. So you're upset that you have all these projects in front of you. Yes, that's what I just said, man. You might get that. Well, what can I do to help you? So that's a way to acknowledge what's happening. And then you can say, how can I help? And then listen further. And then you two can come up with something together.
And I guess, Julie, you can use that for yourself as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be between people. It could be you accepting your emotion and moving on with it, and saying, what can I do about it, rather than letting it fester, for instance. So I think it's really interesting that I feel that you could apply that to yourself as well. That's right. And think about, apply that, Raj. That's a really good point. And apply that to when someone asks you, hey, Raj, how are you? I'm okay. But inside you're thinking, you know what? I'm having a horrible day. Mm-hmm. And then you edit yourself, right? Because people don't want to hear this. I already talked about this yesterday. They know the whole story. And I found myself talking to a friend of mine. I have close friends. I would say a handful of friends I've known for about 10 years. And these friends, I can just say, you know what? I'm having a horrible day. And even when I talked to her the other day, I said, you know what? You asked me how I am, and I didn't really answer the question. Mm-hmm. I responded in things that I got done. So I don't think I was yes-anding her. I don't think I was yes-anding my emotions. It was, I'm okay because I got this done, this done, this done. That's not acknowledging the emotions. That's more external. So So maybe I'll go to the MindHug website and get some more info. Well, we'll show a video at the end, which basically gives people a description of what we've been up to. So we'll show that in the end, and I'll have a link as well. So by all means, if anyone wants to give MindHug a go, join our mailing list right now. And if anyone has any questions for Julie and wants to get in touch with Julie, let us know, and we'll put you in touch with her as well. Yeah, I can do programs like this. If you're having a horrible day, reach out to me. If you're having an okay day, reach out to me, and we can laugh. And we can do this too. I don't know why I'm making this face. It's the what day is it face again, Julie? What? See, and then my left eyebrow, but because it's opposite, it looks like I can raise the other eyebrow. Fantastic. That is me. Okay. Right. So we got any more exercises, Julie, or is that? I do have one laughter act. How much time do we have? Because I know we're going to do Q&A at the end. Yeah, we can go another 5 minutes or so if you want. Yeah. Oh, before I go into, one other thing about adding on to what we were talking about, Finn, about being in the present moment when you're talking to someone. Here's an analogy. When you think about when you go to a Second City show or improv show, and the people who are on stage, they are in the moment. Right. They have put everything from their day off stage. They're not thinking about the past. They're not thinking about the future. So if you could visualize when you're talking to your team member, you could visualize just being on the stage, just the two of you, no other distractions. And you can practice that to be in the present moment.
And if it's a challenging conversation, feel free to do a laughter exercise that can kind of help you de-stress.
Okay.
And here's a little laughter exercise we can do. It's also it hits the pressure points, reflexology points in the hands. And I think I've got the card somewhere, but I believe these are affect your sinuses. So by doing this, you breathe a little bit better. I'll prefer, yeah. Either way, you feel good after this, right?
Right. Kind of like Omar Simpson.
What's that?
Omar Simpson. I said kind of like Omar Simpson.
Oh, one more time. Sorry.
I said kind of like Omar Simpson, the cartoon character.
Yeah, or more like Mr. Burns actually.
Mr. Burns, actually, yeah.
Fun to do. I like to do it slowly first because it builds up the excitement. So what you go. So inhale before you laugh. Inhale and then exhale. Ha 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 ha. Want to do it together? Put our hands up together.
Yep.
Ha 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 ha. Okay, one more time. Okay.
Whose evil laugh was that?
That was me.
Not that.
Ha 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 ha. Now it gets really fun. Ha So we just laughed. We just looked really creepy. And it's the idea is that whatever laughter exercise or fake laughter you do, it can help evolve into a real laughter. So it doesn't matter what laughter exercise you do, as long as you get some kind of laughter in your day. It allows you to breathe, allows you to get out of your head. And Thad, I like that laugh. That was fun. What was it?
That's that.
Now Dad's gonna have to do it on his own.
I didn't catch that. What was it?
You got to do the laugh again.
Oh, the evil laugh.
Yeah.
Whatever you did, I loved it.
Was that it? I think the first time was better.
That's great. You know what? It's fantastic. But when people say, "Oh, Julie, so you won a laughter championship. Well, why don't you laugh?" And at that moment, I'm not in the mood to do the winning laugh. They say, so I just do this. Ha 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 ha. Anyway, what's cool is my body doesn't know the difference between ha 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 and the real laughter. So, well, this has been so much fun, you guys. Thank you.
Great.
Yeah, thank you, Julie.
It's been great, Julie, and I think what I'll do is I'll open up the floor to any questions if anyone listening has any questions. We'll give it a minute.
Ooh, I see. Look at that. I went from private chat and I clicked over to the live comments. I just learned something.
There you go.
Yard.
There you go. So
it's good to learn all ears. This is fun. And someone said, "Howdy, Alex." Oh, sorry, Thad. That was you. Sorry.
Yep.
About that.
There we go. Any more questions?
Yeah. You guys have any thoughts? Anything at all?
No, I think that seems like a wrap. I think everyone just enjoyed the energy and the laughter. So I think that's been very helpful, Julie, and thanks for taking the time. What I will do, as I always do at the end of these sessions, just play a little video that we have for MindHug, just giving people a little bit of an update of what we are doing and where we are exactly. We are looking to launch in the next couple of months, so watch your space, subscribe to our website to be the first to know when we do go live. But what I will do now is I will just play a brief video about what we are.
Awesome. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Great. So that's a wrap then for today. Again, thanks. Well, we were supposed to be Sakshi and me, but we managed to get almost the whole team together. So that's a win in my book. And we got to see Dad's laugh as well. So that's just a bonus. But again, thanks everyone. Thank you for everyone who tuned in. Thank you, Julie, and thank you, team. And that'll be a wrap for today.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.